The Slow Flowers Show with Deborah Prinzing. This is episode 558. Today, you're invited to the Pottery Studio and Cutting Garden of celebrated ceramic artist Frances Palmer. This is a lovely preview of Frances's upcoming presentation at the Slow Flowers Summit. Our theme at the summit this year is Flowers as Artists Muse. And the conversation that follows, we'll share with you why we invited Frances to the summit. Frances Palmer is a renowned potter, gardener, photographer, cook, and beekeeper. Over the course of 3 decades, she has caught the attention not only of the countless people who collect and use her ceramics, but also of designers and design lovers. In 2020, Artisan Books published Frances's Life in the Studio. The book is as beautiful and unexpected as Frances's pottery, and as breathtakingly colorful as her celebrated dahlias, and as intimate as the dinner she hosts in her studio for friends and family. I'll share our sponsor thank yous after the conversation, so let's jump right in and meet Frances Palmer. Hi, everybody. It's Deborah Prinzing. Thank you for coming back to the Slow Flowers Show. I am so excited to introduce my special guest today, Frances Palmer. Hi, Frances.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining me virtually. I wish I could be there.
I know, it's a beautiful, it's a kind of day in Connecticut that makes you forget how dreary winter was.
Oh, good. You've waited a long time for this then. This is
Yes,
your reward.
yes.
Well, I asked you to join me today to give people a little sneak peek of what you're going to share and what they're going to learn from you at the Slow Flowers Summit at the end of June. And I won't give your full introduction here, but I will ask you that you've been described as a potter, a gardener, a photographer, a cook, a beekeeper, and of course, a writer. And you've just blended all these passions into this amazing artful life in your studio, and which is the name of your book, Life in the Studio. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you blended it all together. I guess it's just at some point you decided, why not? Why can't I take my own photographs, and why can't I grow my own flowers? And, that's sort of a beautiful collection of talents.
I didn't really ask myself that. I just kind of said, well, from the beginning when I was making work, my goal initially when I started was to do functional work. And as a result of functional work going out of the studio that people would buy and live with, I realized quite early on that I needed to document everything. And I think because I'm here and I'm working pretty much every day, it's that practice makes perfect, where you take the photo, you grow the flowers, you work on the pots every day. And it's just so integral to who I am that I don't even really think about it. I just sort of do it.
Right. It's this holistic approach to being an artist and a creative person that you were able to teach yourself how to be a photographer and how to be a flower farmer. I have to just stop 1 second and just say, speaking of functional art, my homage to you today is I made a little Mother's Day centerpiece in this beautiful piece that is one of,
nice.
This is one, and these are all from my garden, so I had a little bit of early spring. But this is a piece that you had in a Valentine's Day bud vase collection.
Oh, I remember,
several years ago. Yeah,
I used to do that. That was really fun. I kind of just ran out of time. I don't have time to do that so much anymore.
Oh, well, they were very rare and special. And thank goodness I had a collaborator in my teenage son, where I sent him the link and I said, tell Dad this is what I want for Valentine's Day.
That's so nice. I'm
so
glad.
He helped select it. Well, I know you're in your studio. We're going to take a walk. Do you want to give everyone a little tour of where you are right now? And then I'll ask you a few questions.
Sure.
So you're in your studio, and if people have purchased and read The Life in the Studio, this setting is quite prominent because this is where you showcase some of your work, right?
Right. Yes. Well, okay, I'm going to turn the phone around and you tell me if it looks like anything. So we're on the second floor of my studio.
Wow.
And it's quite, it's a very working studio. So that's my packing table. But this is a group of wood-fired pots that I've been working on the past month or so to get ready for an exhibition out at Madu in Sagaponack.
Oh my goodness,
So
really?
that's been really exciting. And then when we go outside, so then you can see up here, this is a great old, so these beams are all from the 1790s, and then in a house in a town nearby, and then we moved the beams over next to the house and put out new skin on the barn. And yeah, so you can see, hold on, I'll go on this angle here, and you can see what amazing light I get to have every day. So this is facing, I guess this is facing west. So that gives me such a great afternoon light. And then
which is more for the photography, but you also need it when you're working, or is all your ceramic building and pottery building downstairs?
It's downstairs, which is so messy. We might like do a quick drive by. But anyway, this is the view out the window.
Oh,
This
Frances,
is
how fun.
my first cutting garden. And then, so this is facing east. So this is where I take a lot of my photos in the morning right here. Because it has such a great light in the morning. Can you see the garden? Am I at the right angle?
And I love the center access path, and then the large beds
right. So
on either side. So how do you get into the beds? Are there little places you can walk?
Well,
they look pretty wide.
They're 16-foot square, and the tulips are actually in rows. We can go down and look, because then I'm going to put the dahlia hoop, the tomato cages for the dahlias, in between. And it does get challenging in the middle of, in the fall, when the dahlias are quite large. So you just have to kind of squish yourself through.
We all know about that. I just have to show everyone a photo, Frances. I pulled out, the first time I really knew about you was in Stephen Orr's book, Tomorrow's Garden.
Right.
Which is over 10 years old. But this is a charming photo of you with this giant, catch of dahlias. And so I can picture exactly what you're describing about how to navigate an overgrown cutting garden.
So, okay, so now we're downstairs. This is one of my wheels, and here is a photo where I take a lot of photos in the morning. And then it's such a mess. I really can't even believe I'm going to show that. I can't actually. I'm going to turn it around to me, because
you are so funny. But don't you think every artist and gardener you visit, they're telling you, "Oh, you should have come last week. It was tidier."
I know, right? I don't know. I'm doing the best I can here. So, all right. So now we're outside, and we're walking over to the first garden. So this is what you could see from upstairs.
And is this the former tennis court, or was this just raw land?
No, this was like a little pie wedged garden. Do I have the camera tilted correctly?
Yes, it's terrific. And we see all your bulbs.
Yes, and so you can see they're kind of in rows here. And then I'll introduce you to my young friend Laura, who is helping me plant the dahlias. So you can see there's room for the tomato cages. Okay, so you saw the round garden. I was going to take you over to the tennis court.
How much property do you have altogether, Frances?
6 acres.
And my understanding from what I've read in your sort of your memoir, In Life in the Studio, is this was just a big family garden at one point where you raised your children. And did you grow vegetables, or what was there?
I tried to grow vegetables. Well, first of all, this garden was quite small when we moved in. My husband and I built this, so this didn't exist when we moved in. Then here's my wait, I'm going to turn it okay, so wait, I have to turn it around. So that garden.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
And then over here is my wood kiln that I built in 2018.
Oh my goodness. And this
Can you see that?
Yes, and this is where that pottery we just saw is produced?
Yes. So
that's fabulous.
We just did that last week. It's a little messy.
Do you ever use it for, like, I don't know, wood-fired pizza, or is it definitely for pottery?
You can't do pizza because the fire. I'm afraid to walk over there.
Yeah, I
in
might
case
lose
I
you.
lose you. But the fire pit is right before the pot, so you would have to reach over the open flame.
Mm.
So that really wouldn't work for pizza,
Oh,
right?
it's
Okay.
so cool. I love it.
So this is my gas kiln that I was doing just this morning. Okay,
Oh,
so
good.
here is the greenhouse. Uh, and we've
Wow.
started sweet peas. It's again,
Yes.
and then this we didn't get our lawn mowed because of all the rain last weekend, but this is my can you see all my fruit trees?
Yes, your orchard. I love it.
Yeah. So I've got, pears and peaches and plums and apples and quince and medlars and pawpaws.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's I've got lots of different like a budding arboretum.
Yes, and is this more for your just for your own personal, like, preserving and enjoyment in all your
Yes.
cooking? You're not cutting any
Yes.
of the flowering branches for your arrangements or anything?
No, no. I mean, I've struggled so hard. Like this is the first year where I should get decent fruit, and they're
Oh,
currants. And then,
I
okay,
love
these
it.
are all the chrysanthemums.
And have you been taking cuttings to get those rooted in or
Yes, and I just buy them when I can. And then here is the greenhouse.
Mm.
Here's my friend Laura. Come say hello. Can you see Laura?
Yes, hi, Laura. How are you? I'm Deborah.
So these are all the lemon trees that we're waiting to stay warmer at night, and all
They
the seedlings. I can't. Is it? Can you see all this?
It's terrific, Frances, yeah.
Okay,
And it's so these are all the kind of because you're in zone are you in, like, zone
I think we're
7?
six.
6,
Six.
okay. So
These are all the
lots of these goodies,
geraniums.
all these beautiful tender temperate plants have to live over here in the winter.
Yes, they live in here. Here are all the zinnias and the geraniums and begonias. Here are all the geraniums waiting to go
Oh,
out. All of my
oh,
friends.
beautiful.
Aren't they pretty?
Yes.
And
That's
here,
just so
begonias.
it's so fun to see that you've grown all these things and then to have followed you on your Instagram posts where there's such an intentionality about what you select to pair with a vase because like
I know.
the geraniums you often have with the unfinished terracotta, right? I mean, it
Right.
seems like that's
Yeah,
a
they just kind of talk to each other. Um, isn't Can you see this beautiful sky? It's such a gorgeous
yes,
day.
yes. Oh my gosh, it's terrific. I'm coming to you from cloudy Seattle, so I'm loving
Uh,
that sky.
okay,
Yeah.
so here's the tennis court.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So so this was
This really was a game changer when you decided to do this, right?
yeah, it was my husband's idea. Um, we This tennis court was originally built in the 1930s, so when we moved in, all the fencing had fallen down and our kids were young. So we put up the fence, but none of us, as I write, none of us ever played tennis. So my husband uncharacteristically said, "Well, why don't you grow your flowers up here?" And so you can see how many raised beds I've put in over the years. Now I've done all these rose bushes in these little pots here,
Yep, on the ends.
although there are lots of roses. And then here are my beehives. Look at that
Um,
tall one over there. The bees are so happy with the sun. It was so cold and rainy over the weekend.
so they've kinda had to be hovering and
Yeah,
staying trying to warm themselves, and now
right.
they're floating around.
Yeah, now everything is kind of rocking. Here's you can
So
also
so the raised beds, there's no bottom to them, correct?
no, they just sit on the court, but you can
Mhm,
see over time they've all cracked. And I
mhm.
get lots of great stuff in the cracks. So I always just kind of, like
Encourage it.
I've got allium and dianthus and, sunflowers come through. It's
So it's
very disorganized, but it has a lot of flowers in it.
it's a functional chaos, but you know where
Yeah,
everything is. I love
I
it.
do.
Wow. So you're actually
So
planting here it is, May 9th. You're starting to put your dahlias out now.
yeah, because the dahlia companies are shipping their stuff so much sooner now than they used to, and so like Swan Island, I think we got their tubers early March, just
And then you
really
have to keep
early.
them protected before you can plant them out.
Exactly. So they've been
Yeah.
sitting in the greenhouse, and and we just got to get them in the ground. So I
Yeah.
think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
it
how do you balance this intensity of gardening? I guess because you have Laura helping you, because you have that demand, and then you have all your commissions that you've made. Some of them are time
I,
sensitive, right?
oh yeah, but you have to, even if I'm working at the wheel, I get up and I come out here, I just chop everything up into kind of segments. And so that I'm not doing one thing for any long period of time, so that I just, so that I get tired and cranky. So, and I'll try and come out here and have tea in the afternoon, and, like just bring my clippers. And even if I just pull out a few weeds or something like that, it's just lots of chores over a period of time, little bits at a time.
Right, right. I love it. And also maybe that subconscious, how it feeds your subconscious when you've changed tasks, things come to you that you probably had been, I don't know, frustrated by.
Exactly.
And yeah.
Exactly. Like, especially if I'm throwing at the wheel, or I just have to get up and go away and take a break, because I feel then you come back, you're a little bit better.
So talk to me a little bit about, you said, like, I showed you the bud vase. You said you're not doing things like that anymore. Are you mainly producing vessels for existing, or like commissions that come to you? Or I know you have some shows coming up too, but is it mainly for those two categories of things?
There's no, I have no set schedule.
Okay.
It depends. Like, if I get a commission or an exhibition comes up, or I have orders. Yeah, it changes all the time.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I just because those when I was doing the bud vases, I think, once I wrote the book, um, my calendar just got a little bit busier. So I just didn't have, because it's not only making those little bud vases, it's then you have to get them packed and shipped. There are a lot of steps to it. So
Oh
I
my gosh,
just ran out of time.
exactly. You can, I mean, the thing about it, seeing a piece that came from your hands, I can see almost your fingerprints in it in a good way.
Hmm.
Like, I know you've it's one of a kind, and that's what's
Yeah.
special about your work. It seems like when you have the exhibition, like the one coming up at Madu, that gives you a chance to maybe go deep into a particular
Hmm.
method. Is that like the
Yeah.
wood fired pottery?
Yeah. Yes, because the Madu exhibition is organized by my Abby Bankser, whose company, who's is a gallerist who has Object Thing, and she and Madu organized it together, and Abby and Object Thing show a lot of my wood fire. So that's a great opportunity. And then I think another exhibition that came up rather unexpectedly for next week is during the Frieze Art Fair. That Object and Thing is curating work for, I think it's called LK Atelier in a townhouse. So it's just wonderful to have these opportunities, because I love to have I just love to have a project, a vision for making something, as opposed to just making work that doesn't go, that's just maybe sits
Yeah.
in my studio.
No, that makes sense. It's sort of like a theme for a collection, or
Right, right.
when you are working on your vessels, what do you prefer? Ceramics, pottery, or all of
Doesn't
the
matter.
above?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're working on a pieces, are you picturing what you would design to put in them? I mean, I know this. I kind of want to play on this flowers as Artists Muse theme that we're
Yes,
we're
of
looking
course,
at.
for obvious reasons. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, for example, I'm while we're talking, I'm looking at the bearded iris. Hold on, let me show you what I'm talking about. Where I can see that the buds are starting to pop out, like here. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes. Yes, they're swelling
because I
there.
yes, I have lots of bearded iris here, and then of course the tulips. So I'm constantly assessing. Oh, that's coming up soon. What do I have something for them? These are all those great huge lilies.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
Yes.
this is Egyptian walking onion that you just cannot kill. It just I thought I pulled it all out, and now I see a
Wow.
nice
And
big
it
fat
wintered over
clump.
there.
Yeah, see, here's another wonderful bearded iris bud.
Oh, I love it. That's about at
So
the stage of mine too. It's
yeah,
it's interesting that I'm in zone 8B, and so
is that warmer or colder? I always
it's
get
warmer.
confused.
It's
Yeah.
warmer, and so I'm interested in seeing the
Yeah, but
stage you're at.
you can see how warm and sunny it is up here. So I
Right.
think this is usually a lot further ahead of the round garden.
Yeah, you're cheating the zone there because that reflective heat is just gotta
Exactly. So
crazy.
so the way the beds are, they're just sitting on top of the asphalt, but the asphalt is cracking. So I think what happens with like these great rose bushes is they just kind of push through the asphalt for their roots, right?
Right. As the
Because
asphalt disintegrates, it actually works to your favor.
yeah, so I mean this rose bush has really gotten huge. And here's some more of those bearded iris buds.
Mm, wow.
Here's some more. So I should probably get off the phone because I have to go. What I'm just teasing.
Oh,
I have to figure out what am I going to have for the bearded iris, right?
yes, you do, and that's okay. We'll let you go. I'm really excited that people will be able to, who come to the Soulflower Summit will get the full story and see, your process. I've watched you, present, especially during COVID. You did a lot of online presentations, where you were able to show some video clips, and I thought that was really a way to bring people into your process as
Oh
well.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I'll make sure I keep that. I don't have a lot of them because when you work by yourself, it's hard to photograph yourself, you know. So
Absolutely, and you have such a distinct setup for like you showed us, for a finished collection or a finished vase, and so you're behind the camera when that's happening, right?
oh yeah, yeah. And I'm not really comfortable being photographed, as you might be able to gather from this. So I I am perfectly happy to be the photographer and not in the photo.
Well, it's okay. I'm so appreciative of your time today. You know, I had all these questions prepared for you, but we've talked about a lot, and people who come
Well,
to the summit will get
if
the
you
bigger story.
exactly, but if there's something that you especially wanted to ask and didn't, I'm happy to answer.
I guess I am curious about your path to flowers. Like you had this art history background, and you I think in your book you write about having had another a textile business or something like that.
Oh,
A knitwear
I
business?
had a knitting business. Well, I mean, I started growing the flowers because of the art history. I've spent a lot of time, studying gardening books and flower paintings. And I found, 28 years ago when I was doing the pots and we moved to this property where there's so much sun, that a lot of the flowers that I envisioned using weren't really available in the market. In the I mean, I would go to the 28th Street Market in New York City when it was really huge. Now, of course,
Yes.
it's like shrunk to almost nothing. But even the commercially grown flowers, they just, as you know, they just never feel the same as something that's authentically grown. So I just started ordering from, Thompson and Morgan, and um, my husband's from the San Francisco, so we went to the Dahlia Garden in the park
Mhm.
and got resources from them. And I just started ordering, and a lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes, a lot of failures, and but again, that process of just doing it over and over again. And so every year it's a further exploration. So I never quite feel like, oh, I've done it now, I know what I'm doing. No, I always feel there's something new to try, something new to learn about, and that keeps me going.
Well, it's just your ethos of making with your hands,
Right.
or or learning, teaching
but
yourself.
but also, and this is something I'll talk about in the talk, and which I talk about in the book, is that like ceramics, the garden, there's this whole level of unpredictability, and a creating something that is gets out of your hands. So there's like a certain part of it all that you have to surrender and or appreciate or be grateful for if something works.
Right, and respond to, like,
Yeah,
you may have an intention to do something with narcissus, and then all of a sudden you're switching to allium because the
right,
narcissus have blown
right,
out, and
right.
And I always feel like that's the mark of an artist, of someone who can make beauty out of a mistake. It's
Right. Well, you
a
have to,
disaster.
yeah, you have to learn to go with it for sure, because otherwise that you'll be doomed, because that's just the way it goes, right?
Well, thank you so much for your time today. You are so generous with giving us a sneak peek. This is really going to inspire people to want to come here more and meet you. And we'll have copies of Life in the Studio for you to sign when people come to the Slow Flower Summit. I don't think we're going to make you bring uh, a whole truckload of finished pottery,
No,
because that's not
no,
how you
I don't.
operate these days.
No, mm-mm, no, but
But
I'm happy to come, and thank you so much for asking me to speak. I'm really
oh,
looking forward to it.
I'm thrilled. And I will also, when we post this in our show notes for episode 558 at slowflowerspodcast.com, I will have links so you can sign up for Frances's newsletter, because that's where I learn most of what you're doing when you send those newsletters out
Right.
about
Not too often,
events.
though. Not too
No, but
often.
like if you're
Yeah.
speaking or if you have an event, that's how
Yeah.
people can find you.
Exactly. Right.
I love it. All right. Well, go figure out what you're going to do with the irises, and I want to see when
Okay.
that
All
happens.
right. Thank you
And
so much.
oh, thank you, Frances. I will see you in a few months, and less than
Okay.
2 months. And this is wonderful introduction for people who have no idea how vast your art reaches, not just at the wheel, but in the garden. So I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. That was wonderful. Please consider joining us at the Slow Flowers Summit, where Frances will be discussing both her work as an artist, her love of flowers, her growing, and how those practices are interdependent, each informing and influencing the other. Her story will inspire anyone who wishes to integrate an artist's craft into floral design and flower growing. Frances's presentation takes place on Monday, June 27th, which is day 2 of the Slow Flowers Summit, and will be followed by a Q&A and book signing. You can find all the details and see photos of Frances's ceramic pieces and flowers in our show notes for podcast episode 558, which we'll post next week on slowflowerspodcast.com. Before I go, I'd like to thank our sponsors who bring this show to you. This show is brought to you by slowflowers.com, the free online directory to more than 880 florists, shops, and studios who design with local, seasonal, and sustainable flowers, and to the farms that grow those blooms. It's the conscious choice for buying and sending flowers. Thank you to our lead sponsor, Farm Grow Flowers. Farm Grow Flowers delivers iconic burlap wrap bouquets and lush, abundant arrangements to customers across the U.S., supporting U.S. flower farms by purchasing more than $10 million of U.S. grown fresh and seasonal flowers and foliage annually. Discover more at farmgrowflowers.com. Thank you to Details Flowers Software, a platform specifically designed to help florists and designers do more and earn more. With an elegant and easy to use system, Details is here to improve profitability, productivity, and organization for floral businesses of all shapes and sizes. Grow your bottom line through professional proposals and confident pricing with Details all in one platform. All friends of the Slow Flowers vodcast and podcast will receive a 7-day free trial of Details Flowers software, and you can learn more at detailsflowers.com. Thank you to Cal Flowers, the leading floral trade association in California, providing valuable transportation and other benefits to flower growers and the entire floral supply chain in California and 48 other states. The association is a leader in bringing fresh cut flowers to the U.S. market and in promoting the benefits of flowers to new generations of American consumers. And thank you to Store It Cold, creators of the revolutionary CoolBot system, a popular solution for flower farmers, studio florists, and farmer florists. Save thousands when you build your own walk-in cooler with the CoolBot system and an air conditioner. Don't have time to build your own? They also have turnkey units available. Learn more at storeitcold.com. The Slow Flower Show is a member-supported endeavor, and I value our loyal members and supporters. If you're new to our weekly show and our long-running podcast, check out all of our resources at slowflowersociety.com and consider making a donation to sustain Slow Flower's ongoing advocacy, education, and outreach activities. You can find the donate button in the column to the right at slowflowerspodcast.com. I'm Deborah Prinzing, host and producer of The Slow Flower Show. and the Slow Flowers podcast. Next week, you're invited to join me in putting more slow flowers on the table, one stem, one vase at a time. The content and opinions expressed here are either mine alone or those of my guests alone, independent of any podcast sponsor or other person, company, or organization. Thanks so much for joining us today, and I'll see you